Hey, I'm Scotty Rock.
And I'm Nate Danger.
Oh, yeah, and today we're going to talk about...
the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne.
Living it all the way. Time to fly, hit the sky like a
Okay, man, Ozzy Osbourne, icon, legend. What do you got to say?
Just inducted for the second time into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You look at the career that he had from the beginnings of Sabbath into his solo career and then reality TV star and everything else, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, Ozzy has been a super impactful component in my existence as a musical lover.
I know, man. Hey, like, how do you go from, like, something as iconic as Black Sabbath to, like, an icon as in yourself? You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
That's insane.
Black Sabbath, to me, the Ozzy Osbourne Black Sabbath, there's not much that can top Ozzy's Sabbath.
Right.
That is, as far as I'm concerned, that's the creation of heavy metal.
Yes.
When you put that first record on and you heard Black Sabbath.
Oh, man.
Oh, no, please, God, help me.
I was scared.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that Black Sabbath, they call themselves like a blues band, but because they tuned down a step so the strings are looser for Tony Iommi, everything sounded heavier, so they became a blues band that...
Well, they're tuned down standard, though. They're tuned down to what, D?
D, yeah.
To D, standard.
But they became so metal, you know, they defined metal, I guess.
Absolutely.
Was what thing, and Tony Iommi's riffs with Ozzy's vocals, like, come on, man. The
Unbelievable
first album
riffs.
was awesome.
There was not too much poor material. I mean, maybe later in the Never Say Die and whatever else.
Yeah.
But those initial albums.
Second album, awesome. All the way up to, like, Sabotage for me.
Yeah, but Sabotage was an awesome
Oh,
album.
I know, that was my worst cover, but...
What?
I love the cover. But, after that, I kind of lost a bit of interest with, like, technical ecstasy and things like that.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Back when they were doing too much cocaine, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
maybe.
You can see how that kind of, like, in the music.
Ozzy Zig needs a gig.
Yeah, right on. Well, you know what's crazy about Ozzy is the tone of his voice is so amazing, and you can't believe it's coming out of that guy.
Very unique voice. He's got issues with alcohol, drug abuse, different things like that. He gets kicked out of Sabbath, then starts on his solo career. And that's what he's inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for now.
Yeah.
Well-deserved.
Wow.
Well-deserved.
Way to go, Ozzy.
Yes. Ozzy. Yes.
Yeah, man. Okay, so Ozzy comes out in 1980, first time solo. He pulls it together. Hey, like,
Yeah, but look at the players.
everyone thought he was set to fail, and he comes out with Randy Rhoads on the album.
Randy Rhoads,
Saved the day
one of the best guitarists, arguably, of all time.
of all time, and certainly that period.
Yes. In that period, they said the two virtuosos were Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads.
Yeah, and they couldn't
Right.
be like more far apart, really, in their style.
No,
In
but
a way,
both great players in
Yeah.
their own right. But Randy Rhoads, as far as I'm concerned, in my musical taste and stuff, Randy Rhoads, I'm gonna put him above Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah,
I just did it. I
yeah,
just did
you
it.
just did it. Yeah, you know what? I'm not too far behind you, Danger. As a guitar player, as a kid, when I was starting out and listening to Randy Rhoads, and everyone's saying how amazing he was. He kind of
Yes.
got me into classical music, which, like, you know, I like to play from the guitar point of view. And it's not like I'm like pumping Brahms or anything, but just like the style that he brought to heavy metal guitar was so amazing. Blizzard of Oz comes out. The Crazy Train is the biggest hit ever, and it's still played on the radio.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
How many times has Crazy Train been played on American radio,
I
on
know.
North American radio? Like, it's insane.
Hockey arenas, sporting events, it's everywhere. Crazy Train.
Such a good song.
And that whole album, front to back, like, what an introduction to Ozzy as a solo guy. Not only has the crazy, I don't know, like the riff comes in and everyone's playing.
I don't know.
You got the moody Mr. Crowley with the awesome, the keyboard intro is amazing.
Mr. Crowley.
Wondering on in your head. Oh, Mr. Crowley.
I know.
Oh,
That's the best part for me.
that I feel like when I played in a band, we did a number of Ozzy tunes. Mr. Crowley was one of them.
Oh, really?
And yeah, all of the hits, like Ozzy was just like in the 80s. He was the He was the Godfather of rock.
He was a bit of the light post for
Yeah.
like 80s metal, I'd say. Or the
Such a great album. He had people like Rudy Sarzo.
Sarzo, Tony Aldridge, those dudes went on to like explode in Whitesnake and Guns for Hire kind of band.
He's always had the best
Robert
musicians.
Trillo, the drummer from Mike Borden.
Mike Borden?
Faith No More. Remember when we saw and Mike Borden played on the Sabbath tour that when Sabbath rolled through?
Yes.
And he was an amazing drummer. Holy shit.
Okay,
I
that being said, how many times have you seen Ozzy?
Like twice? Not very often.
I feel like I've seen him 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
Twice as Ozzy, once as Sabbath.
Oh,
right?
nice. Yeah.
Now, total offshoot. When he came through as Ozzy, Rob Zombie was opening for him. Right? The first time. And this is back when Ozzy, he was actually really fat.
Yeah.
Out of shape. He looked terrible. But the first time I saw Ozzy, Rob Zombie was opening. And Rob Zombie went out into the audience. He had his megaphone and a light, I think, that he was cruising around with. And he came down into... I was in the lower level of the bowl.
Yeah.
And he came down and literally stood beside me. I had my arm around Rob Zombie as he's singing in this concert. Like,
to the megaphone, hey?
yes!
That's cool, man.
It was unbelievable. Like, how cool is that? Of an
Like right up next to it.
Rob Zombie's awesome.
Yeah, man. Rob Zombie's open for everyone, hey?
Oh,
Everyone,
I love
that
Rob
kind of
Zombie. The first time I saw him, I think that was the first time I saw Rob Zombie. But he's got so much energy.
Yeah.
And he's like kicking and dancing and spinning
some
around.
theatrics,
He's
yeah.
got these crazy moves and a great band. And then Ozzy came out and he was just kind of...
Just standing there, hey?
He was kind of frumpy.
With
Whatever.
a bucket of water.
Yeah.
Okay, so-
that was actually the worst time I saw Ozzy. Was the first time because he was just whatever.
I can't imagine him when he was at the peak of like his addictions. What he was like as a performer. He's either probably off.
Ask
hinge.
Motley Crue.
Yeah.
What about the stories of him snorting ass
snorting
and
ass.
everything?
I can see that. I think about that, and I think about the crazy stuff we've done, and like it's nowhere near there, hey. But it's also like I could see how it could get out of control.
I could see that.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And in that time, they elevated like rock
Oh, yeah.
stars were like, you were untouchable.
You're allowed. Yeah, you could just do anything.
You were like P. Diddy.
Not quite. Holy shit. We should have a conversation about that. That's insane. But okay, so Ozzy comes out. Blizzard of Oz is just like blows the doors open for an introduction. Then he goes into Diary of a Madman.
Diary.
I can't
I'm
remember
a madman.
all the songs on that album. I feel like I preferred Blizzard of Oz.
No,
I did.
not me. Diary of a Madman.
Oh man, really?
I love that album.
Yeah. Like, from a
but-
guitar point of view, there's some like sick riffs, but I think the songs are better on the.
Really?
Yeah. Anyways, that's just from my personal taste.
I don't know.
Is it? I don't know on the first album.
Yeah, but I was just saying.
Oh,
it as
yeah.
a conversation.
Okay, what's Diary of a Madman? Like, sum it up.
Yeah. Well, what's on it?
Well, Sato. There's is that? I don't even. Diary of a Madman. Hang on. I gotta just like check. Oh, Over the Mountain.
Oh.
What's with all the '80s drum intros? I know, right? Okay. Fly High Again. That's a classic Ozzy like production trick. Man, play this bass riff, eh, dude? Oh, dang. We should have got two zeros on. Okay, Ozzy Osbourne, Diary of a Madman. This guy's such a spook, hey? Like, I love his album covers where he comes out and he's like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Rhoads obviously dies.
What?
Yeah, at the end of this album. It's true.
Yes.
Okay, so rest of Ozzy, like, you know, like going through his catalog, then he goes into Bark at the Moon, has a new guitar player. Jakey Lee's amazing.
Jakey Lee.
Funny story, so George Lynch was auditioning for Ozzy at the time. Jakey Lee comes in, steals the gig from George Lynch. They were kind of like, hey, George, why'd you cut your hair? And because he's like, I need a job to live because you haven't hired me, but I'm on tour and we're writing songs and doing sound checks. And they never picked George Lynch. Can you imagine? Could you imagine an Ozzy with George Lynch world, you know, if it wasn't Jakey Lee?
Yeah, but Jakey Lee was so good.
He was so good.
Jakey Lee, like that album, Bark at the Moon, that's an awesome album.
Oh, man.
And
Bark at the Moon.
some of the most iconic, like, I get Randy Rhoads, yes, icon. Jakey Lee was an icon in
in
himself.
Yeah.
Like-
and Bark at the Moon is like for me the Ozzy song. You know what I mean?
Bark at the Moon, the solo at the end, the
insane.
outro solo.
Yeah.
Ah,
Wow. Okay, here's a funny story. When Jakey Lee tried to audition for Ozzy, he got Warren DeMartini from Rat to show him all the technical stuff because he couldn't figure it out with his ears, you know?
oh yeah.
Warren also showed George a bunch of Ozzy Randy Rhoads riffs. So I'm like, why didn't they just hire like Warren to be the guitar
To be the
player?
guitar
Because he
player.
taught like the filling guys. Anyways, Jakey Lee comes out, Bark at the Moon, one of my favorites.
Great album.
Great album, great cover, great video. He's racing through a castle and
Yeah.
he's barking at the moon. He's transforming into
The video for Bark at the Moon.
Oh man, I remember going to my buddy's house. His brother played in a band, and they would jam in the basement. And he had like an early version of MTV somehow on satellite radio or something, or satellite
yeah.
TV. And watching that video for the first time, it was so rad.
You know, Bark at the Moon is a funny song because like it's a song that I've played in a couple of different bands. We played it in my Alice Cooper tribute band.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
'Cause
Yeah,
we used to open for ourselves.
yeah. Rob rips that.
Yeah,
Rip
and
that
we
riff.
played Bark at the Moon in our opening set. But I also played it because we did a stint, I don't know if you remember, at the Roxy. We did a live karaoke stint.
I remember that, man. It was
Yeah,
so much
so
fun.
my band
Yeah.
would do like live karaoke where people could do a karaoke, come up,
In front
sing a
of
song.
yeah.
Bark at the Moon was one of those songs. And I played bass on it at the time or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was always such a fun song to play. Like such a great song.
Such a speedy riff. And so then from Bark at the Moon, there's a couple big hits on it. It's the comeback of Ozzy. Like obviously he's can continue without Randy Rhoads, and so he got into Ultimate Sin, which is was one of my personal sin. It's one of my personal favorite albums, and I think Ozzy, that's like when he was glam was kind of at its peak, and
Yeah.
that was his like glam album, I would say.
See, I never got into this album.
Oh really?
Nope.
Oh
never
man.
did.
When I
This
heard
is the
Shot in
one
the
album.
Dark, Ultimate Sin, those two like sold me on the whole album, and I love the cover.
Not saying that I don't like it now.
Right.
But at the
At the
time,
time.
when it came out, this was the one Ozzy album that I didn't buy.
Yeah.
I had everything in Ozzy's catalog, and I only started appreciating Ultimate Sin probably in the last, 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Like, really?
I still love to go back and listen to that one.
Yeah, it's actually really good. I listened to it the other day. But I don't know what it was at the time when it came out. I never got into it. No.
He in that video he comes out and he has like the longer hair and he's got that red glitter cape, you know, and Jakey Lee's got like this big head of hair and he's like rocking out.
Have you seen those videos where he's like Ozzy and Jakey Lee and they remove all the music and it's him like
Oh yeah.
clapping and then he's like ripping Jakey Lee's hair and stuff. That's so
Dude,
funny.
That's so funny, man. So like and Ozzy, he got sued by the bass player who wrote the lyrics apparently, or like the songs, for royalties, and so Ozzy doesn't want to remaster this album. He's like, I hate this album. I'm not paying this buddy more royalties.
Wow.
And so they kind of cut it out of the catalog. But so then so Jakey Lee's out for some reason. For the same reason he wanted more royalty money.
And then
You're out. You can't like go to Ozzy and say,
yeah,
it's Ozzy and Jakey Lee show. You know what I mean? So
that's right.
So he gets out and they do a nationwide call out for guitar players, and lo and behold, he hires 18-year-old Zach Wilde from New Jersey with a bullet painted Les Paul.
Bullseye.
When you first heard that, No Rest for the Wicked, and that came out a couple months before And Justice for All. So I remember watching it on video, like it was like Metallica and Ozzy, but Miracle Man.
No Rest for the Wicked
Yeah.
is when I absolutely fell in love
Oh,
with Ozzy.
I know. Hey, it's still the nail in the coffin for me. Or
Liked him before, loved him now.
Yeah.
Nobody plays guitar like Zach Wilde.
What an introduction to the guitar community. You go from Randy Rhoads, Jakey Lee, and then this kid shows up, and he's got like this wide vibrato.
Like, really? Like,
Yeah, it's amazing. And the pinch harmonics, and he's like really aggressive. He's got
his
some
guitar
different
just sounds phenomenal.
I know. Crazy Babies was a good one on that.
Oh, crazy babies never say
And what
no.
else is on that? Well, obviously Miracle Man. Like
Miracle
what a
Man.
tune.
Oh.
coming in on the F sharp.
Fire in the sky.
Fire in the Sky was
Oh
too.
yeah.
So
There's
that was
so
that,
many good
that was a
songs.
big comeback for Ozzy.
But then Ozzy comes into probably, I would say, his peak album.
Peak album, yeah.
Right? He releases No More Tears.
Wow.
Oh.
And we were in high school when that came out, hey?
Yes.
Oh, man,
Came out
I-
in 1991.
So many parties. You
Oh.
walk in and it's like you know that riff?
One of the greatest songs ever, No More Tears.
Yes.
And the album, you know what I love about it? There's not a bad song.
No.
It is, for me, it's my peak of Ozzy. Everything was clicking. Everything was firing. The band was
Smoking hot.
tighter than it's ever been. And the production was amazing.
Right.
Like a song like Hellraiser. Oh,
Man.
so good that Lemmy covered it.
I'm living on an endless road around the world for rock and roll. Sometimes you feel so tough, but I still ain't had enough. I keep saying that it's getting too much, but I know I'm a liar. Feeling alright in the noise and the light, but that's what lights my fire. Hellraiser, the thunder and heat. Hellraiser, rock you back in your seat. Hellraiser, and I'll make it come true. Hellraiser, I'll put a spell on you.
Oh,
Well, I think, didn't Lemmy write a bunch of songs? He wrote Mama, I'm Coming Home.
Mama, I'm coming.
Which I think is like the best Ozzy ballad with the country sort of like little lick that Zach Wilde does, you know, at the start,
Such a great
the
song.
falling bend or whatever.
Yeah. Not a bad song on that album.
Oh man, and they just put it out as like a remaster or something. But at the time, what a monster record that was.
100%.
And
100%.
That was all over everything.
He's had some great albums after. He's had a lot of success, but I
Right.
think up until No More Tears, that was the pinnacle of his career, right?
Yeah.
So he comes out with Osmosis after, which is a great album. It's still got Zach Wilde on it.
Zach
Yeah.
Wilde, but I think Steve Vai wrote a couple tunes on that tune.
Yeah.
Which at the time I was like, I don't know if I want to listen to that because to me Steve Vai ruined Whitesnake. don't get me started. You know what I mean? I was like, if you're gonna ruin Ozzy, I'm out. So I kind of came in at it with a bit of a bias.
Osmosis was a good album.
Yeah, it was good.
It's not a great album, but
No,
it was a good album.
It was good. Yeah.
He came out with Down to Earth. Down to
Yes.
Earth was a good album. You know, again, not the greatest of albums, but it was a good
It
album.
was a bit of a letdown after No More Tears, but at the same time, how could you top No More Tears? You know
Well,
what I
and
mean?
that's the problem with Ozzy is once you've peaked at an almost perfect album.
Right.
Speaking of which, we're gonna do an episode on perfect
Oh,
albums.
yeah.
But No More Tears would probably be an almost perfect album.
Easily. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you're always trying to play catch up, or the fans are buying it and they're saying, okay, well, it wasn't as good. It didn't live up to.
Right.
So there's always that, but still really, really strong material.
Oh man, for sure, and sort of scattered in between those eras of Randy Rhoads, Jakey Lee, Zach
Yeah.
Wilde, with all the live albums. Speak of the Devil comes out after Randy
Well, that was
Rhoads.
after Randy Rhoads. Yeah.
And it was, they had the guy from Night Ranger on guitar,
Yep.
filling in.
That's right.
And I heard Vito Bratta from White Lion was almost hired in that era of Ozzy,
Vito.
and he
We
knew
love
all the
Vito.
Sabbath songs, but they ended up like hiring this guy from Night Ranger.
Really?
Yeah, which is a weird pick. Anyways, and then
Vito.
so then Tribute comes out in '87 as a memory of Randy Rhoads, which for me that was when I was playing guitar, you know, like like that was an amazing experience hearing live Randy Rhoads versus the first two albums.
Yep.
And then after No More Tears, it was that Live and Loud. It was like that
Yeah.
the thing that came in the speaker.
The speaker.
That was
Yeah.
like the best live Ozzy for me. Zach
It was
Wilde.
really good.
And when he played Changes, you know, on the piano.
Yeah, they did some Sabbath stuff.
They did some
Yeah.
Sabbath stuff. And so then for me, after No More Tears, Osmosis, I started to fall off a bit on following Ozzy.
What about Black Rain?
Black Rain had some like decent tunes.
Yeah. it was
Like
good.
every Ozzy.
And then he had
album-
Let It Scream.
Let It Scream. I like that tune. Like Let It Scream with I think Gus G played on that.
Yeah. Gus G.
Yeah, with like another guitar player.
Yeah,
And he
he was-
riffs. He was really a riffing.
This is the only album that he was on. Right?
Yeah, I think he played in some Italian like metal band originally, and they scooped him.
Good on you, Gus.
Yeah, man, that was a great contribution, but not the best.
But this is when like Kevin Churko really started
Yeah.
having a lot of say on writing songs,
Songs, yeah.
right? This was that era where Kevin Churko, the producer, he had a lot of writing credits for Ozzy and so on.
Well, that's the point of Ozzy's career, where like the producer wrote the songs, recorded them. Ozzy probably showed up and like, yeah or
Sang
no,
them.
or like
He was too busy doing reality TV.
Well, okay, when you first saw that reality show, like that was a bit of a glimpse into the Prince of Darkness, eh? But it's
Yeah,
like,
I loved it.
I just remember him like coloring in his book, and he's like, Sharon.
But it was so funny because it brought you into his life. And
I know,
it was
it's
comedic. It was hilarious.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it was a great show. The Osbournes, I loved it.
Yeah, man.
I was like stuck, glued to the TV.
I know, right?
I watched it all the time.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
And then so after that, he put out like the covers album.
Yeah, he put out a covers album.
What's it called? Undercovers? Shit, I can't even remember, man. I guess I could just look. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, but like there was like some duds on there. I wouldn't have.
I never listened
Undercover.
to it. Undercover. I never listened
Like
to it.
Rocky
Honestly,
Man
I
Way.
never
Isn't
listened.
this like Peter Frampton?
I was like,
But it sounds awesome because it's Zach Wild and all. Isn't this the Eagles?
I've never heard this.
What?
Well, he's telling us this, he's telling us
You know
that.
this song.
Changes in
I know this song.
Oh, we never heard that. Yeah.
I'm not an idiot.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, he does a Beatles song, right?
Yeah, I never want to listen to it. Now you're making me listen
I
to
know,
it.
right? Because it's an interesting comparison. Because Ozzy, at the end of the day, sings the best ballads.
Yeah, but I just wasn't interested in listening to Ozzy sing a bunch of cover songs.
Okay, but what was the song that he did on Make a Difference Foundation? Oh, Purple. Was that Purple Haze? Didn't he do a cover of that? Remember that cover album?
Well, it was on the Stairway to Heaven, Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what did Ozzy do?
I think he did Purple Haze, which I didn't enjoy because it's like it's such a weird option. Okay, Black Rain, Scream, Ordinary Man. What's the song on here? Under the Graveyard. Oh, frick, dude, that's a great tune. And that's kind of the only one I listened to on this album. Starts
Yeah. This is another Ozzy album that I never bought.
Yeah, I never bought it either.
I never bought this album, but when Patient Number 9 came out,
Oh yeah.
I was all
great-
over that album.
That was a great album, man.
It was a great album.
And
I
I-
love that he brought in Mike McCready
Yep.
from Pearl Jam. He's got Eric Clapton. He's got
Iommi
all
on a couple
these
tracks.
Iommi's back.
Zip
He's
Wild.
got obviously Zach Wild. I found that
Jeff's
to
back.
be one of the most.
Insane guitar players ever.
What a great album!
Yeah.
It changed the whole atmosphere of what an Ozzy album would be because you had a different guitar player on all these different tracks.
And
Right?
I think for me at that point, it was refreshing to hear him with different people in the band.
Yeah.
You know, no offense to Zach Wild and like all the band that
We love you, Zach.
That served them like throughout that whole period, but you know, man, there's some great guitar playing on there, and the songs I think are a bit better, and that Patient Number 9. Just represents Ozzy so well. Yeah.
The whole thing. And look at how old is he? How old is he
How
doing
old
this
is he?
album?
73 or 78?
Man,
Is he
he's
80?
got to be older than that. I don't know.
I heard he's like 180.
He's pretty old, and he's lived a life.
He's lived a life,
that's aged him more than most.
Yeah, how is he still going?
He's still out there, still giving her. I love it. He's got a new single, whatever, Crack Cocaine, whenever that came out.
Yeah, that was this year.
Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, but who's that dude that he wrote that song with? Because I looked at it, and that guy has an album out, and it's like pretty awesome.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a rock and roll songwriter kind of guy hooked up with Ozzy.
I don't know who the guy is.
Yeah, well, he got Ozzy on his album.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. And he wrote some tunes with Billy Idol on his newer stuff.
Ooh, I like Billy
I
Idol's
like
new
that
stuff.
new Billy Idol stuff. So, okay, Ozzy.
Ozzy.
So he gets into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and are we at that point where there's no more new Ozzy? You know, do we need another Ozzy record?
No, we probably
Could probably just play
Probably good.
the 20 albums before that, plus
we're
your
probably good,
7
Ozzy.
classics.
You can take a break, man.
Take a break. You
Settle
deserve it. bud.
down.
Get into the Rock and Roll Hall of
Ride your quads. Remember he fell off
Yeah.
a quad and broke his neck or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, that was a terrible accident.
Yeah.
That would suck too.
But we love you. Thanks for all the music.
Ozzy.
Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy Zeke needs a gig.
Living it all the way. Time to fly, hit the sky.
Hey,
Okay, I'm Scotty Rock. Right into
I'm
it.
Danger.
Let's suck this beer back here.